individual event finals continue at the U.S. Gymnastics Championships. We'll be watching the women's vault now in the men's pommel horse. And on the men's pommel horse, to get things underway, Chris Waller from UCLA, who finished second yesterday in the all-around competition.
And Chris really is a good introduction to pommel horse. He'll show us beautiful extended swing. His body is in complete balance and totally in control throughout. Look at that. What he's doing is he's traveling all the way across the horse in the flare position while spindling at the same time. Tremendous.
This is truly 30 seconds of non-stop action.
The dismount, a flare right to the handstand, and a good landing. A great routine. Very difficult, very elegant, but he did leave out a major combination requirement. Let's take a look at this. This is his most exciting skill in the routine. He'll travel the entire horse while in flare, all the while turning his body opposite to the way he's circling.
Chris led in the men's all-around competition until the final two rotations. And let's see if the judges did pick up on that omission in his pommel horse routine, and obviously they did, because he only came up with a 9.5. It's the first rotation now in the women's division as we move over to the vault. And a homecoming, a Denver native, gets it underway. Sandy Woolsey, fifth in the all-around. And Christy, this is one of her strongest areas.
Sandy will be performing a layout full for her first vault. The start value for this vault is 10 points, so it's possible to receive a perfect score on this vault. That was a strong vault, but she made some mistakes. Her legs were a little bit bent in the flight, and she had a small hop on the landing, so she won't be receiving a perfect 10.
In the individual event finals, Sandy Woolsey, like the rest of the competitors, will have two vaults, and they'll average those two scores.
Here's her round off and a back handspring onto the horse, big push, layout full off. Now that vault requires a great deal of precision and consistency, and those are trademarks of Sandy Woolsey.
At 17, Sandy's one of the oldest in the finals. We asked her if it's tough to stay competitive that long.
I think a lot of it is when they get older, women mature. And I think that has a lot to do with it. And also their views over it. If it's negative when you're little, you can still handle it, but it affects you and you can destroy yourself as you grow older. I think a lot of it, I think, is attitude. How you view gymnastics. If you think of it, how hard it is, as you go on, it just gets harder and harder, and then the more you don't want to do it, and then you're like, forget it, this isn't worth it.
It is truly amazing. At 17, she's a veteran. On the men's side, she'd be one of the youngest competitors.
She'd just be starting out, Joel.
And Sandy Woolsey with a 9.725 on that first vault.
All right, for Sandy's second vault, she performed a tuck to the heart with a full twist. That also is valued at 10 points. She did a good job, nice and clean. A hop on the landing, that'll cost her.
And it looks like there was some pain on that landing as well for Sandy Woolsey, almost like she strained her back a little bit.
For Sandy's first vault, she performed a round-off entry, backwards entry onto the horse. This is a forward entry, nice push, nice clean form in the air, and 2/10 deduction on the landing for the hop.
And the average on those two vaults at 9.675 for Sandy Woolsey as we head back to the men's division, the second rotation. And it's Patrick Kirksey on the pommel horse.
He really manhandled this event. Patrick also starts in the flare position as Chris Waller did, traveling across the horse. Very steady, very confident performer on this exercise.
Patrick is 21 years old, and he's been in gymnastics now 12 years.
This is very difficult to travel the horse like he just did, a longitudinal travel at the end of routine. He'll get some bonus points for that.
Well, Patrick didn't fare as well as he would have liked on the floor exercise. Let's see if he makes up for it on the pommel horse.
Well, this was a very consistent, very strong exercise. Nothing really unique here, but it flowed very well. And it had a reasonable amount of difficulty. And, of course, the stuck landing.
Patrick was very successful in the pommel horse at the NCAA championships just 4 weeks ago and comes up with a 9.70.
A big score for the pommel horse. You're basically starting at 0, and there are a number of requirements that you must fulfill to increase the score.
Amy Scherr's first vault was 9.712 as she prepares for her second vault under the protege from Bella Caroli's gym.
Oh, and Amy performed a handspring front somersault for her vault. A many gymnast would have sat that vault down. She landed a little short on rotation, but she saved it. She took a big step back.
Amy, like so many others, has left her hometown to move down to Houston to be in that gym with Bella Caroli. She's a native of Cincinnati.
Amy under-rotates the vault, actually, and she almost has to sit down, but she takes a big step back and saves the landing.
Amy is only 15 years old. Her second vault, a 9.562. The average, 9.637. We'll be right back to continue with the U.S. Gymnastics Championship, the event finals. When we come back, Brandy Johnson is on the vault. Brandy Johnson returns this afternoon, hoping to regain the form that made her the all-around champ last year. It was 1989. The U.S. Gymnastics world revolved around Florida native Brandy Johnson. After returning from the 1988 Summer Olympics as the United States top all-around finisher, she swept through a score of national and international competitions, displaying the determination and drive of a true champion. Brandy collected the all-around title at the American Cup, as well as sweeping 5 gold medals at the International Tour of Champions in Cottbus, East Germany. Add those accomplishments to all-around victories at the USA versus USSR Challenge and last year's U.S. Championships. She entered last year's Worlds as America's brightest hope and came home with a silver medal in the vault. But that was a year ago. Brandy has battled back through a series of injuries, finishing a disappointing 22nd in March's American Cup competition. And many have questioned if she's lost her drive.
My goal at first when I started gymnastics was to compete in the '88 Olympics, which I did. I made that goal. And the year after, I was on such a high. I didn't know what to expect, and I just kept competing. And I set my goals for that year, and I've just been taking it a year at a time right now.
This year, Brandy has been taking up subjects other than gymnastics. She has enjoyed life in the spotlight and lent her name to some commercial endorsements.
I can keep up with the big guys, too.
Not bad. Think you can teach me one of those flips?
Milk. It does a body good.
As the trophy collection illustrates, she has been outstanding. But outside interests, including spending time with her boyfriend and enjoying the Florida sun, have contributed to her dropping out of the spotlight. She is no longer the only gymnast to watch at these championships. She faltered in the all-around optionals and failed to defend her title, finishing a disappointing third.
As long as you're having fun in what you're doing and you want to continue to compete, it doesn't matter if you're number 1 or number 4, as long as you're doing the best that you can do. And that gives you a challenge, even if you are number 4, that you want to be number 1 again.
As recent history illustrates, success in American gymnastics is short-lived and aimed at youth. Both all-around national champions prior to Brandy are no longer involved in the sport. Christy Phillips went through a growth spurt and was unable to adjust to her new body. 1988 Olympic balance beam bronze medalist Phoebe Mills decided to retire at 16 to resume what she labeled a normal teenage life.
When I was training with Phoebe and Christy, I never knew how much pressure was put on them until, I got in their spot. And there is a lot of pressure.
The correlations between Phillips and Johnson's body types are evident. But Coach Kevin Brown feels that if handled correctly, Brandy's changes could work to her benefit in the future.
There's a stage that they go through. It might be a 6-month period of time. You have to work with them through this growth spurt, let them know that you're concerned about it, and just work with them on a daily basis. So it has to be more of a positive, upbeat type thing and not a nagging, negative thing that it's something that every female has to go through, and you need to know how to deal with it as a coach.
2 years doesn't sound like a long time, but for a gymnast, it can be an eternity.
My future goal is to stay until 92 and be on the 92 team. But as I said, right now, I'm just taking it 1 year at a time.